Right, Spurs are busy early in this transfer window as they look to avoid another successive season, finishing just above the relegation places. Mark McAdam joins me now to take a look through who they're looking to bring in this summer, or who they've already brought in fact. Have they got a defender conundrum at Spurs? What can you tell us?
Yeah, so like you say, Spurs, the movers and shakers already in this transfer market. It always impresses me when sides go out very early on and get their targets nice and early. And they've done that essentially with Marcus Senesi and Andy Robertson. Two free transfers, two top quality Premier League players that can go straight into that squad. And they're on the verge of confirming a third one as well. What we do know is a deal was agreed late last night between Brighton and Hove Albion and Tottenham Hotspur for Jean-Paul Van Hecke, the 26-year-old currently out in the World Cup at the moment. That deal is worth £52 million. No add-ons. It's a straight £52 million. However, Brighton do hold a 20% sell-on clause in that deal. The key thing here is that JP wanted Spurs. Why did he want Spurs and Spurs only? Because of the head coach, Roberto De Zerbi. He says he's like a father figure. Obviously was instrumental in getting him into that Brighton side, took him into the Europa League, formed a really good relationship with the defender, and the opportunity to go and work with him again was something that was absolutely key for Van Hecke. He had just 1 year left on his contract. So Brighton had to move, otherwise this time next year he'd walk away on a free transfer.
A lot of money for someone with 1 year left on their contract.
Yeah, to be honest, it's made a big thing. You know, people say he's got 4 years left or 5 years left or 1 year left. Ultimately, Trent Alexander-Arnold went to Real Madrid with 4 weeks left on his contract and they paid £20 million for him. Whatever the buying club wants to pay, whatever the selling club's willing to accept, doesn't really matter how long. It gives it, you know, the selling club, when they have a long-term contract, it gives them a little bit more power and control because they can say, well, you're not going anywhere for 4 years, so you've got to do what we say. However, it's one of those things. Whatever the price is, and if two parties agree, that's what the deal is. He cost Brighton just £1.8 million.
Not bad business, is it?
And they sell him for £52 million. Once again, this is another example of how clever and astute and good Brighton are within the transfer market and what they do to generate huge funds. Once again, they'll go and reinvest that into more defenders. The key thing that they're going to miss out on is Van Hecke played 36 out of 38 Premier League games, started 36 games. That's a big piece of their jigsaw they're going to have to find and fill. It's
amazing, isn't it, now, Spurs? You look at the defensive options they've got, because they've still got, you know, Romero, Van der Ven's still there. I agree with you. I think Senesi's a great signing. You've seen a lot of him at Bournemouth. But it'd be interesting to see how they deal with all of that. Are they going to sell someone? I mean, are Senesi, Van Hecke, are they coming in to start? Robertson, you presume, is going to be the starting left-back?
You'd imagine. This is what's fascinating. They have strength in depth right across centre-back, which historically has been a bit of a problem because they've suffered from injuries and players being out of form. But they do have strength in depth, and they have arguably 4 top-class starting centre-backs now. So Roberto De Zerbi has got a little bit of a problem. We know that there's been a lot of noise around Christian Romero. We also know there's been a lot of noise around Mickey van der Ven. Now, Tottenham will say we don't want to lose any of our top players, and obviously Roberto De Zerbi will have, you know, final say on who goes out the door. But you'd imagine getting players in that position may be the setup for someone going out of the exit door. But we just have to wait and see what happens. But getting their business done early is certainly a massive positive.
What about midfield? Because one of the most in-demand midfielders in the Premier League at the end of the season, Sandro Tonali. Is there any chance of Spurs making a big bid for him?
Well, our information is there is very, very firm interest in the player. Sandro Tonali is a key part of Eddie Howe's side. We reported yesterday that there was interest, but no club-to-club talks as of yet. The fact that the interest has come out would maybe suggest there is a feeling from the Sandro Tonali camp that this is a deal that they'd be open to. However, Newcastle will turn around and say, this player is not for sale. You know, and if you were to put a price on his head, we'd be looking for £100 million. You know, if Elliot Anderson's worth 120, 130, maybe more, then Sandro Tonali is worth, you know, not far off that. So can a deal happen? We don't know. But like you say, when you've got Andy Robertson and Marcus Senesi on a free transfer, suddenly that frees up funds to maybe go big on another player. And what we do know is that the Tottenham hierarchy are absolutely trying to back Roberto De Zerbi over the course of this summer. He came in last season when there was a good chance they could get relegated. He signed a 5-year contract. They've put their faith in him. Now they have to get the backing and support that he needs to go and build this team, because he'll say, look, I've done it with Brighton. I've managed big clubs. You give me the tools, you give me the players, you give me the squad I want. I'll go and take this team back to the Champions League. But that means you have to back me in the transfer window. And if they were to find the funds to go and purchase someone like Sandro Tonali, who would be a big hitter, then maybe this could be the start of something special for Spurs once again.
Sense they're going to have a bit of competition, though, with Tonali, Arsenal, Man City possibly. Speaking of Man City, Bernardo Silva. I must admit, I thought he would go to Barcelona when it was announced he was leaving. He's going to Real Madrid.
Yeah, there's been a lot of players linked with Barcelona that haven't ended up at Barcelona. Cucurella was one of those players and is now obviously at Real Madrid. 16 major titles at Manchester City. He's incredible, quite simply phenomenal. 6 Premier League titles, huge part of the success of Pep Guardiola. A free transfer at just 31 years old, and now he's going to be linking up with Jose Mourinho. We got confirmation from Real Madrid earlier on today. He's going to be signing a 2-year contract, free transfer, similar to Ibrahima Konate. This is once again more good, solid business. Exceptional footballer, over 100 caps for Portugal. Absolutely is one of those key players in the dressing room. The biggest professional you'll find in the game. He ticks all of those boxes. The fact that there's that Portugal link with Jose Mourinho as well will be nice.
Jose factor, you think, would be quite big in bringing in all these players they're linked with?
Absolutely. He's a superstar head coach, one of the greatest managers of the modern era. When you look at his silverware haul, now he's got the challenge to try and perhaps do it at a big club once again that he hasn't had for some time, and of course maybe do it in the right style as well. But Bernardo Silva, the footballer he is, will certainly pull the strings through the middle of the park. So that is the right type of signing to play that attractive brand of football that Real Madrid fans expect.
Yeah. Cheers, Mark. That's an awesome jacket, by the way. What's that, dusty pink?
I think so, yeah. I don't know.
I thought you would. How do I know that and you don't?
Well, you're more of a fashionista than me.
No, that's rubbish. Remember, you can keep up to date with every deal on our dedicated Transfer Centre page, and fashion advice if you want it. You can scan the QR code on your screen now to keep up to date with every move this summer.